Hello, and welcome back to another informative video from Innovative Czech, your go-to source for the most exciting stories on China's innovation, development, and growing global influence. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our future videos. In today's episode, we're delving into the recent shockwaves in the global trade industry. The United States attempted to strong-arm China by banning Chinese companies. But it backfired. China, in response, canceled an order of 1.1 million tons of corn from the U.S., causing panic among American farmers and sending ripples across the global grain market. Before we begin, remember to subscribe, share and comment on our videos. U.S. Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, has cautioned that a total decoupling from China would be a disastrous mistake. How exactly did this happen? What does it mean for not just the U.S. and China, but the world economy? Let's break it down. First, we need to understand China's economic might. As the world's biggest exporter of goods and services, China has a huge influence on the global economy. The trade relationship between the United States and China has been a topic of heated debate and discussion. Tensions escalated when the U.S. decided to ban certain Chinese companies, resulting in China retaliating by canceling corn orders from the U.S. This move sent shockwaves across the farming industry in the U.S. and has highlighted the delicate nature of trade relations between these two global superpowers. China is the world's largest exporter of goods and services, maintaining a significant role in the global economic landscape. In contrast, the U.S. heavily depends on its export value to China. The U.S. Department of Commerce reports that the U.S. exported goods worth $153.8 billion to China. This large figure signifies the potential economic impact if China ceases to be a trade partner for the U.S. China's decision to cancel a corn import order from the U.S. has a profound impact on U.S. farmers. This single move represents a significant 7.4% of U.S. corn exports to China. More importantly, it underscores a shift in China's corn import strategy. Previously, U.S. corn made up a massive 72% of China's total corn imports. However, in the wake of new agreements with countries like Russia and a push for diversification, that figure has reduced dramatically. China's shift toward diversifying its corn sources is a strategic move, meant to lessen its dependence on U.S. corn. It's not simply a retaliatory measure. It's a strategy for ensuring food security and stability. The diversification of corn sources is a trend expected to continue, primarily driven by more competitive corn prices in countries like Brazil and South Africa. This diversification has significant implications for global corn prices and poses a fresh set of challenges for U.S. farmers. The diversification is not limited to corn. It also extends to other crops, such as soybeans. Last year, China imported approximately 91 million tons of soybeans, with around 29.5 million tons originating from the U.S. However, this is a substantial decrease from previous years. Conversely, China's soybean imports from countries like Uruguay have surged. As China diversifies its grain imports, a decline in U.S. grain exports to China is expected. This decrease will undoubtedly impact overall export values. Consequently, U.S. grain merchants and farmers must actively seek new export markets to mitigate the potential adverse effects on the U.S. economy. However, finding alternative buyers isn't as easy as finding sellers, highlighting the complex nature of international trade relations. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has voiced her views on the importance of the U.S.'s economic relationship with China, warning against any attempts to sever these ties. She believes that decoupling from China is not in the best interest of both nations, recognizing the indispensable economic relationship between the two countries. Numerous U.S. business leaders have also expressed the importance of maintaining trade relations with China. Figures like Elon Musk and Bill Gates have expressed optimism about China during their visits, urging the Biden administration to avoid decoupling. Their sentiments underline a common understanding of the irreplaceable role China plays in the U.S. economy. A complete decoupling between China and the United States, the world's two largest economies, would inflict immeasurable harm on the global economy. Many countries worldwide are deeply intertwined with the global supply chain and have significant economic ties with both nations. Therefore, a decoupling would disrupt these interdependencies, affecting various sectors and countries. As the relationship between the US and China continues to evolve, several potential scenarios could unfold. One is that the two countries might manage to reach an agreement on trade that benefits both nations, resulting in stabilized relations. On the other hand, they could continue down the path of economic divergence, leading to further strain and potential economic turmoil. International bodies like the World Trade Organization, WTO, also have a role to play in mitigating trade conflicts. As the guardian of international trade rules, the WTO can mediate disputes and encourage dialogue between the US and China. However, its effectiveness largely depends on the willingness of both parties to engage in constructive negotiations. Domestically, there's increasing pressure on US policymakers to protect local industries and jobs, fueling policies promoting self-reliance and reduced dependency on foreign imports. However, pursuing this direction could potentially lead to higher consumer prices and economic inefficiencies. In China, the government faces its own set of pressures. With a growing middle class and an increasing demand for high-quality imported goods, China needs to balance its own domestic interests with the goal of achieving self-reliance and technological advancement. In response to China's shift in import strategy, US farmers will likely need to diversify their own markets. This could involve exporting to new countries or expanding their domestic market. Alternatively, they might consider growing alternative crops that have a higher demand in the current market conditions. As digitalization and technology continue to advance, they can play a significant role in mitigating the impacts of trade disputes. For instance, blockchain technology could improve supply chain transparency, making it easier for buyers and sellers to find each other. Meanwhile, precision farming technologies could help US farmers improve crop yields and profitability, easing the impact of lost sales to China. The tension between the US and China is not merely a bilateral issue but one with global ramifications. As two of the world's leading economies, their trade decisions impact global commodity prices, trade flows, and economic growth rates. Therefore, the future of US-China relations remains a topic of significant interest to policymakers, business leaders, and observers worldwide. While recent events have caused considerable concern, it's crucial to remember that the global economy has always been marked by periods of turbulence. With negotiation, cooperation, and a willingness to adapt, it's possible to navigate these challenges and emerge stronger on the other side. As the global community watches the developments between the US and China, there is hope that both countries can find a way forward that not only benefits their own nations but contributes to the stability and prosperity of the global economy. It's clear that the US needs to understand the implications of its policies towards China. Can it find alternative buyers? Well, US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen certainly thinks it's not as easy as finding sellers. What can the US learn from this situation? How will the global economy navigate the future? And, importantly, how will technology play a role in this evolution? Find out in our next episode where we'll discuss the role of technology in trade, the future of US-China relations, and much more. If you're as excited about that episode as we are, make sure you've subscribed to our channel, so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay informed, and stay innovative. Until next time.